strap into your pod racer as we talk this week's
Initial thoughts. Part 1. Initial thoughts. Part 1. Initial thoughts.
Thanks for tuning in again, Trekkies, as we review the 5th episode of Lower Deck's 3rd season. Reflections. We'll be talking an alternate life worth of spoilers if you'd like to reset your cache now. After last week's episode that was so lackluster I had to do a YouTube short on it, this episode kicks your expectations in the teeth. Though I find this episode wonderful, we're going to start on a dislike. For the first 9 minutes where I'm thinking to myself, here we go again, a giant Easter egg hunt with a mediocre plot. The first third of the episode feels kind of detached from the later 2/3 that gets freaking fantastic. Pretty much all our main characters except Tendi see some serious character growth. We've got a ton to talk about today as Rutherford can't sleep due to nightmares of an engineering explosion he can't stop. The Cerritos is back at Tulgana 4, the planet with the mini-districts from Season 1's Envoys, and was mentioned casually as the destination of Deanna Troi at one point. I'm going to give a like for the show creating its own lore that it circles back to through the run. It's really important to help balance out the series' member berries in this episode. Trying to help Rutherford sleep, Tendi resets his cached files, but this opens up a whole new can of worms. At first it seems he's taken over by an anaphasic life form, like Ronan from Sub Rosa. He slinks around the ship similar to Evil Kirk from The Enemy Within, before being subdued by Shax, and T'Ana doesn't detect anaphasic energy. This is where the episode goes from a fun but mediocre gag of normal Rutherford being stuck as a reflection, to a battle within his own mind between him and his younger self. After 3 seasons, we finally get a smidge of the mysterious backstory of Rutherford, as his pre-implant self wants to reassert control over the Rutherford body. But for reasons, only one of their consciousnesses can survive. I have a like for the hot rod competition this becomes between his pod racer building younger self and admirer of the Delta Flyer Starfleet engineer Samanthan. In his trophy collection are what appears to be a trophy in the model of the unfinished Ryugyong Hotel in North Korea. I'm guessing there's a more Star Trek form that I'm missing to that. What we also find out is that he did illegal races with similarities to Voyager's Drive, but through the Romulan neutral zone and specifically through the Devron system, which was the site of the galaxy-destroying anomaly created by Picard in All Good Things. Also, most importantly, we learn Rutherford used to love pears. Since it's a race in his own imagination, modern Rutherford manifests his friends to crew the Delta Flyer, and in the fun Starfleet-style race uniforms from Drive. And when his other self is about to crash, he's saved even though only one of them can survive. This leads to an important like. As young Samanthan's final act, he mind melds with his older self in a callback to Wrath of Khan's Remember moment, and passes on the knowledge that his recurring nightmare was sabotaged by someone in Starfleet as part of some kind of cover-up. This whole thing has smelled of Section 31 ever since it was teased last season, and keeping the suspense going for a while longer is great. Meanwhile, Boimler and Mariner are ordered to run a Starfleet recruiting booth planetside that Ransom almost sets up Mariner to fail at, but in a reversal of roles, she shows that she can be cool and calm, even when people are literally getting in their faces about all the little jokes ever presented negatively about Starfleet officers, including this Vosh-like archaeologist character in the next tent over, that's just using them as a diversion to go steal back the stolen Grand Nagus staff from a nearby museum. Unfortunately, no confirmation on whether Rom still holds the position in the 2380s. When someone grabs Boimler's pip and chucks it, he's had enough, and we see a new face of bold Boimler, Rage, as he starts trashing the place and standing up to the snide remarks. His growth from the safe, model Starfleet officer to the rounded officer he's becoming this season gets a like for me. As Boimler does his first turn in the brig, he adds his own Boimler's guest house to the tally marks of time spent next to Mariner's HQ, who's tallied up 4 trips to the brig so far. I have another like for not Vosh offering Mariner a chance to do archaeology stuff in the future. A few thoughts here. It almost seems like Mariner might just be saving this as a booty call for later. Any episode before now, I would have said that this could be Mariner's true calling, and maybe she'd be better off leaving Starfleet. But this episode, in particular, shows Mariner trying and succeeding at moving her career forward. Either way, feels decidedly like we'll be coming back to this again in the future. So now, let's go back to the slew of Easter eggs and callbacks in the tent area on Tulgana 4. There's a pair of Antedians first seen in Manhunt, what looks like Mariner's Ferengi friend from Envoys, the ridiculous official Star Trek helmet toy from the 70s makes another Lower Decks appearance, we see the same race or maybe even the same dude with weird jewelry attached to his nose from the most toys. The resonator put together by Picard and pirate crew in the two-parter Gambit makes an appearance. Somehow I totally missed the tablet that Cisco smashed in The Reckoning made whole. The Truther booth is really interesting. I had noticed the little claymation critter from Conspiracy before they brought up the bugs that crawl up your butt. And that line right there gets another like from me. More curiously though, if any of their conspiracies can be believed, they're connecting the dots between what appears to be Shax and a vial of unknown chemistry, Billup's mom, Queen Paolana, a Mugato, a Federation blue barrel like Paralyzed Worf, and a race or character I don't recognize. I hope this is some kind of crazy foreshadowing, but just for making me try and connect these dots, I've got a like. During Boimler's uncontrolled fit of rage, he even yells at the Wadi, the Gamma Quadrant gamers from the fan favorite Move Along Home. More than that, though, their little gaming booth contains the Disc and Cups game from TNG's The Game, and a setup game of Batleths and Binachs from earlier in this season. Yes, I'm giving the Wadi Mullet Brigade a like, because this is so well laid out and executed, including novelty Ferengi ears. There's a bunch of other random races in the background of the episode, but this was all the Easter eggs I found, and I'm guessing I've missed a few also. Like this great photo op cutout of Kirk and Spock from Devil in the Dark. We went from last week being my least favorite episode of Lower Decks to this that's not the best, but probably in the top 5. Great humor, great callbacks, and I can't wait to see what the creators have in store for us next week. 3 episodes down the road, we get Crisis Point 2, so lots more fun to come, and I'll see you then. I've been your host, Dustin Wing.